Good morning, students. Welcome to the online sessions by the Department of English, GSIPU College. I am Jisha Menon and I am here today to give you an introductory session regarding the second PUC English syllabi. So during the time of pandemic, as you all know, we have no other option than continuing with the online sessions. So my humble request is to see all these videos and then make a note of all the important points that we tell you in these sessions. Now let me begin with the two books that you have. As you all know, your syllabus is divided between two books. One is Springs, and this is your course book, or we call it as your textbook. It contains the literature part, and 50 marks come from this Springs. Now this is your workbook and it is named as Streams. It has got many grammar topics and it is purely grammar based. This contains another 50 marks of your syllabus. Now let me begin with the textbook part. See, this textbook Springs, it contains 14 chapters. Out of these 14 chapters, you have got 6 poems to study. The first chapter is Romeo and Juliet, and it is an extract from Shakespeare's greatest play, Romeo and Juliet. So 6 poems are there, and the rest 8 chapters are under prose category. Of that, you have one play, A Sunny Morning. Now, A Sunny Morning is a one-act play, and it is very important when you consider the marks allotted to that. You have all sorts of questions asked from the chapter A Sunny Morning. Now, apart from a play, under the prose category, you have, or you are going to study all genres of English literature. You have 3 short stories, of which one is a translation. You have an interview, Borges interviewed by Roberto Alifano. You have another article, Where There Is a Wheel, written by P. Sainath. You have a wonderful essay on ecology and the need to protect our ecosystems, written by Vandana Shiva. So likewise, many genres are covered under this category. So this is regarding the chapters in your streams. Now let me just tell you what sort of questions would come from streams. Now you are all aware, in your first PUC you have seen the question pattern. See, one particular kind of question is 1 mark question. So the title itself says you have to answer the question in a word, a phrase, or a sentence each. And there are 12 questions asked covering all these 14 chapters. Now that very clearly tells us that there is a probability of 1 mark questions being asked from any of these 14 chapters. You have to study all the chapters and then you will be able to score very well in this part. Now the second type of question is 4 mark questions. We call them as paragraph questions. Now as the title suggests, when a question is asked, you have to answer in a paragraph each. When you say a paragraph, it means a paragraph. It should not be divided into several paragraphs. And though they mention the words 80 to 100 words, you need not look into those words. Instead, you just write 1 page long answer. That is the adequate length of a paragraph answer. And definitely your paragraph answer should begin with the name of the chapter and the name of the author. And it should be purely based on your text, which means you do not have too much to write generally about the question asked from these chapters under this category. So you will be given 10 questions, out of which you have to write 8. Each question carries 4 marks and total 32 marks from this category. Now, out of the 8 questions that you choose, 2 must purely be from poetry. That is compulsory. You have to choose 2 questions from the poetry section. Now, let's move on to the next part. You have another kind of question. It's a mini essay. You can call it as a mini essay. You call it as an essay type question. 6 marks is allotted for that. Here you have options. 3 questions will come. 1 will be from poetry, 1 is from one act play or drama, and 1 question is from the rest of the prose. So you have 3 options. You have to choose 1 and write the answer. And here also you do not look at the number of words, you do not count the number of words. Instead, you have to see the page 1.5 to 2 pages. That is the adequate length of a mini essay. And make sure a mini essay should be divided into several paragraphs. There should be an introductory paragraph which tells the evaluator about the chapter and the author and the theme. Now there should be synopsis of the chapter pertaining to the question asked, and then it should be concluded in a proper way as well. So all these put together makes 50 marks, and your springs, the textbook is covered. So you may have a question, what is the weightage for each chapter? Now I will tell you, the only surety is about the chapter A Sunny Morning. It carries 11 marks for sure. Definitely a 1 mark question, a 4 mark question, and a 6 mark question comes from A Sunny Morning. That is for sure. So 11 marks weightage for this 1 act play. Now for the rest of the chapters, you may get 1 mark questions from all the chapters, and either a 4 mark or an essay type from the other chapters. So this is how the division is. Now let me move on to the grammar part. So you have your workbook, and there are many topics covered, and part A of your workbook is a continuation of what you have learned in your first PUC workbook. So there are some revision exercises. All of you please buy a workbook and start doing those revision exercises as well. Now let me just go through the different topics that would come for your examination. You have linkers. Linkers are nothing but connectives. When you say connectives, they connect ideas, they connect sentences. So it is in the fill in the blanks mode, and linkers have got 4 marks weightage. And one more thing, linkers are purely text based. It is based on one of the prose lessons that you are studying. Now the second is letter writing. You have written letters, several kinds of letters. There have been personal letters, you have written official letters. Now for your second PUC, you need to write one particular kind of letter. It is a job application letter. See, imagine that a person is applying for a job. Definitely he needs to apply in a specific way, attaching his biodata along with that. So it is this that you are going to study this year, and it carries 5 marks. Now this part, comprehension, you are all sure about. You have been doing it in your schools as well, and even in your first PUC. You will be given an unseen passage, and this unseen passage you have to read, you have to understand, and you have to answer 10 questions in a word or a phrase or a sentence each. So 10 into 1 is equal to 10 marks for unseen passage, and usually easy passages are asked in the question paper as well. Now there is another type of comprehension that you are going to see. It is a comprehension on poetry. You will be given a small poem. A poem could be of 4 lines or 5 lines or 6 lines. A small poem will be given, and 3 questions are asked based on that poem, and you have to answer all these 3 questions in a single sentence, or you can answer it also in a word or a phrase. So 3 marks for poetry comprehension. Total comprehension, if you are able to do well, it gives you 13 marks. Now another component under this category is active and passive voice. So you have to know what kind of sentence is called as an active voice and what kind of sentence is called as passive voice. And this also comes in the form of fill in the blanks. It has got 3 marks weightage. Next is another important part based on the conversation. You have direct and indirect speech. And this is for 5 marks, very important. You will be given a few sentences, a few dialogues. These dialogues have to be converted into indirect speech. You also call it as reported speech. There will be 5 dialogues or 5 sentences, and each sentence has to be converted. It carries 1 mark each, and total 5 marks. Now another component is idioms and phrases. Phrasal verbs also come under this title. Again, this is purely text based on your Spring's course book, and this carries 2 marks in fill in the blanks mode. Next you have pronouns. You know what pronouns are? It stands for a noun, and pronouns carry 4 marks. Note making, you will be given a paragraph, again an unseen paragraph. You should comprehend the paragraph, and there would be given some boxes or bubbles, and you have to fill in these boxes with the correct words required. Now there are 8 boxes, and each box carries half marks. Put together 4 marks for note making. Now comes dialogue writing. You have already seen dialogue writing in your first PUC syllabus. So you will be given a situation, and based on that situation you have to write a conversation. I'll just give you one example. Say you go to a railway station and you need to ask about the train facility to Mumbai, and you meet a reservation clerk over there. So you speak to the reservation clerk, and that comes in the form of dialogue. 4 dialogues you will have to write based on the clues provided. 4 marks total for dialogue writing. Now you have another component pending, that is report writing or speech writing. Now there is choice between these two. Either you choose report writing or you choose speech writing. Now what is report writing? It is definitely different from reported speech. Report writing is based on the details provided to you. Say for example, you would be provided a chart, a pie chart, or you will be provided a bar graph or a line graph with certain details. Now your duty is to analyze the chart or graph, understand that, and write them in words. Whatever data you find in the chart has to be written in words in a paragraph. A page long answer is expected from the students, and that carries 5 marks. Suppose you do not like report writing, you have another option. You can choose speech writing. You will be given a topic on which you would write a speech. Say for example, imagine that you are the secretary of the eco club of your college, and you are requested to write a speech when you celebrate the environmental day. So you'll have to write a speech. Say there is a greeting, there is thank you at the end. So just as you speak at a function, you have to write the speech. Again, a page long answer you have to write. So one of this you can choose, and it is for 5 marks. Now the last segment, just for 1 mark, that is jumbled segments. You are given some phrases and words. They may not be in order. And what is your duty? Your duty is to pick these words and phrases and frame a neat sentence. And that is just for 1 mark, purely based on your text. So I conclude it in this way: 50 marks from the grammar part from your workbook. Though we say that there is a separate workbook for understanding these topics, most of the questions come from your textbook. So if you are very much familiar with your course book, scoring is not at all an issue. It is very easy to score marks in the topics under the grammar section. So that is 50 marks for the grammar and 50 marks for the course book. So total 100 marks. Dear students, this is just an introductory session. We will be doing each and every chapter in a detailed way in the coming classes. So we are 7 members in our department, and each member in our department would be doing all these chapters so that you would get a taste of each and every teacher's class. So during these difficult times, my humble request is to subscribe the channel in the name of our college and go through the videos in detail and understand the chapters. There won't be much difference from what we do in the class apart from the students' participation in the classroom activities. So that's all regarding the syllabus. Thank you.